We are continuing our discussion of my move from Texas to Ohio. More specifically, my move from North Texas to Southeastern Ohio. Hi, welcome back to Chris's Stylista. We talk about style, we talk about shopping, we talk about life, we might talk about a little bit of travel. Right now, we're talking about transitioning from state to state. So I gave my previous employer a month notice, and I did that to allow myself a bit of transition time to prepare the team and to make plans. There are things that I needed to do to prepare myself for moving. Also, in higher education, a month isn't a very lengthy time if you're transitioning from an administrative role to an administrative role. However, I wanted to be very considerate of the new institution that I was coming to work with, and I wanted to be able to express my interest and that I was definitely coming to join this team. Enough time to transition from a previous role, enough time to prepare for the transition, enough time to share with the new job that I was interested in coming and still committed to coming. And of course, I thought that was plenty of time. But was it though? But was it? Let's discuss it. First of all, let's talk about the actual physical move out of my rental in Texas. One of the things that I discovered moving as an adult is that moving companies do have the service that not only will they move the boxes if you pack and seal them and all that great stuff. No, they can also actually pack for you. And so that was the service I was looking for, just to cut down some of the hassle of moving. So I was expecting movers to show up with a crew, with boxes, with all packing materials, pack me up, load the truck, and we're gonna get out of there. And that's what happened. One of my friends prepared me. We consulted before. Just as a reminder, if there's anything that I wanted to take with me, I needed to put it in a designated area and communicate with the moving team, I'm moving this, please don't touch it. Or either get that stuff in my car before they got there. Because when they're on site, they're hopping there, moving, they're getting it done, they're trying to get you packed and out of there. Now let's talk about the things that I wanted to do before I left Texas. Now, because I was transitioning jobs, of course, there was going to become a point where my insurance stopped and a gap between that and when the new insurance coverage started. So before I left town, I made sure that I went to all my medical appointments, any specialists, any dental care needs, any prescription needs, got all that taken care of before I left Texas. I also let my doctors know that I was leaving and asked if they had any specific recommendations. I do have one doctor that I am going to stick with. If it means that I gotta fly to see her, I might just do that. Now, I have to say, of all the negative things people say about living in the South as someone from African descent, I don't think I've ever had medical care so good as I've had in Texas. The medical care in Texas that I had saved my life. And that's something that I can talk about at a later time. But know this, my general practitioner made some recommendations and connected me to specialists and to people that she actually went to for care, and connected me to a network of highly qualified, talented doctors. As a person of color, I see now, I have learned the value of advocating for your own health, being connected to people who see you as a person, not just a patient, and connecting to a network, sometimes, not always, but connecting to a network of doctors of color. And I understand that some of our community may not understand that, but if we're going to call it an implicit bias does not care what your profession is. Being a doctor does not make you above biases. It's important to me that my doctors see me as a person who they have a role in helping them to live the highest quality of life for the longest amount of time that they can. In my circle of care, I had multiple doctors that were African American women. Not all of them, but the ones that were not were so kind, so intelligent, and took their time to explain things to me referred me to medical journals. It was like I was in a class. Despite our differences, I could tell that this professional saw me as a person, and he entertained my questions and addressed my concerns and my fears. And that was so different than what I experienced in Arkansas. These doctors called me, not their assistants, not receptionists, not nurses. These doctors called me personally to discuss test results. And of course, they conversed with me in medical portals. And that was something that I had never experienced. And so I'm moving on from doctors. All I'm saying is that you have to advocate for your own care. There are biases in the medical community, and you have to navigate around those. You have to find people who are experts and talented and who care about their level of patient care. And not everyone does. And of course, do your own research. Approach things with a critical eye and a desire to learn about how you can promote your own health. Another thing, less serious than the medical thing that I did before I left, is made sure that all the alterations that I needed done were done before I left town, because I loved the tailors at Nordstrom at NorthPark. And everyone that I've worked with has been phenomenal. I had multiple items in my closet that just needed a little bit of tweaking, and I didn't want to try to figure that out in my new location. And so had quite a few things tailored before I left, and perused around NorthPark Mall one more time and walked through Anthropology. It was a beautiful day, and their courtyard was lovely. So one of my loose ends was taking care of my tailoring needs before leaving town. Arriving in Ohio. Before I came here on a more long-term basis, I came here to do my onboarding for a week. So I came to do that in person. I packed a few things that I thought would be appropriate for the weather. I did look at the weather report. The temperature dropped as soon as I got here, and none of my clothing was really appropriate for the week. It was, I think, predicted to be maybe in the 70s, mid 70s, and it was actually for maybe 3 days in the 40s in the mornings, getting up to the 50s, mid 50s. And so I had to make an emergency run to a local women's clothing store. I did a Google search, found women's clothing stores in the area, picked up a couple of items to get me through the week. It was fine. They were not stores that I generally would shop. Had I been in an area that I was familiar with, or had more time. If I had more time, I would probably have just ordered something online, but didn't have the time. Thinking back on it, I probably should have just gone to Walmart. Target was not an option, unfortunately. Another thing that I encountered this week, this first week of me being in southeastern Ohio, was that there were deer everywhere. At first, I found that fascinating and beautiful. Nature's all around us, beautiful rolling hills, greenery, deer, lovely. But after a while, I recognized that they were, when I say everywhere, everywhere, I mean driving down the street trying to get to my temporary housing location, deer walking beside the car. Looking in my backyard, deer eating the greenery back there. Walking into my building to go to work, deer eating the hedges. And not even scared. They don't scare away. They look at you like you're disturbing their peace. So I spent a little bit of time in Columbus, Ohio, and I walked around Easton Town Center. I found so many other stores that I like to shop. I found a fantastic ice cream place called Jenny's. Since that encounter, I've been back to Jenny's, and now I get the brambleberry and the, I think it's called the gooey butter cake together. Worth the breakouts that I have to suffer when I have ice cream. As I was looking for places to stay, one of the people that was moving out was still there when I was touring rentals, and we exchanged information, and she's been kind of showing me around the area, which has been great. So this past week we hung out and we went to 3 places. We went to a winery and ordered flights of wine, tried some delicious wines. I think I wanted all sweet wines because my palate is not refined when it comes to wines. Then we went to a restaurant and I ordered the shrimp and duck sausage pasta, and it was really good. That was one of those meals that you heat up and it's still good. So I'm gonna go back there and probably order the same thing, because one of the things that the new friend said to me is that what she has experienced as not necessarily restaurants that she loves here, more of restaurants that have really good dishes that she enjoys. As I find my way, I'm sure I'll find those spaces and places that have, have some hits. And then we went to a bar and had another drink, and I recognized that she is loads of fun. But when I woke up in the morning, good Lord, age, what? Okay, all right. Not saying I wouldn't do it again though, I probably would. I wouldn't change nothing. As I learn more, explore more, I will definitely share with you here. If you'd like to learn more about my move from North Texas to Southeastern Ohio, I'll leave a little playlist for you right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.